Madam Speaker, you recognize that the budget, as indicated 2 years prior by the member for St. John's Rural North, was just over 70 million, which would have meant that the actual cost, there was a variance in excess of 50 million. Now, Madam Speaker, we examined the various payments that were made. And just to remind the House, the Honourable House, about these payments, for the construction of roads, curbs and drains, a total of $74,218,000 was spent. I want to reiterate that figure. $74,218,000 was spent on the construction of roads, curbs and drains at the stadium. 68.5 million of which was paid to C.O. Williams. Additional payments, and I'll just outline a few large payments, and this is a report that we got from the Honourable Minister of Finance, the member for Rural East. Additional payments include $12.8 million, or approximately 13 million, that was spent on landscaping, and the amount was actually paid to horticulture, landscaping and nursery. And our understanding, Madam Speaker, at that time, this schedule represented payments that were made. And potentially, there could have been other payments that were made subsequent to this particular report. The report also, or schedule also indicated that $11 million was spent on renting temporary stands, and the amounts were paid to GL Events overlay contractors. Also, there was an amount of $12 million that was transferred to the local organizing committee to cover certain expenses of which they still have not accounted, despite numerous requests from myself to account for this $12 million that was transferred to the LOC. But, Madam Speaker, let us examine the circumstances that has brought us to this stage, whereas we have had to file a motion in this Honourable House to elevate this issue for the attention of the Prime Minister and his government. Madam Speaker, sometime in 2007, we were sent a number of letters by a member in this House, who shall remain nameless, a male, well, at least I hope I got the sex right, but then again, the person has some male attributes, so I'd really suggest that it is indeed a male. But anyway, Madam Speaker, we were sent copies of some letters that were actually sent, one to the Attorney General and one to Ambassador David Shaul, as well as a response from Sir David Shaul to the Honourable Wilmeth Daniel. And I'd like to read these letters, Madam Speaker, into the minutes of the Parliament. And these letters created fundamental concerns for us. Obviously, you'd recognize that when I read the contents of these letters, that even the Minister, Madam Speaker, of St. Philip's South had fundamental issues with the way in which certain contracts or proposals, as the letter indicated, were awarded. I think he was very concerned about the obvious breaches in the awarding of these contracts. And he was so concerned, Madam Speaker, that he did not only deal with it orally, he actually reduced his concerns in writing. Madam Speaker, I want to draw to the attention of this Honourable House a letter dated January 20th, 2006, penned by His Excellency David Shaul, addressed to Sir Charles O. Williams, and it reads as follows. Dear Sir, at a meeting held on January 19th, 2006, with the Honourable Prime Minister Baldwin Spencer, Honourable Minister of Finance and Economy Dr. Errol Court, and myself as coordinator of the Intergovernmental Working Group for CWC 2007, it was agreed that the government would engage the services of your company to continue the infrastructure works at Sir Vivian Richards Cricket Stadium. In an effort to proceed with the necessary works, thus enabling the on-time completion of the Sir Vivian Richards Cricket Stadium, the government is committed to the following. And he has here a list of payments. The first payment, Madam Speaker, as indicated in this letter, is a payment of $2 million Eastern Caribbean dollars within 14 days upon commencement of work as payment for the mobilization on the cricket ground stadium. The ambassador further indicated that $2 million Eastern Caribbean dollars as the first monthly payment upon receipt of invoice within 60 days from the date work commences on the project. And he also stated that monthly payments for works completed shall comply with the IC terms and conditions, which shall be based on an approved bill of rates which your company has already submitted. Letter continues, we look forward to your company's acceptance of the above terms. And he says here that you are advised to communicate your acceptance soonest so that you can commence work immediately and we proceed hastily with the preparation of the necessary documentation and legal approvals. So here's the situation, Madam Speaker, in which the ambassador is actually acknowledging that there's no documentation, there are no legal approvals, but yet still he has basically indicated to C.O. Williams that they have been awarded a contract, these are the amounts they will pay, how they will pay it, but the approvals will come subsequently. This letter, Madam Speaker, was copied to the Honorable Prime Minister, the Minister of Finance, and the Minister of Works and Communication. And I want to remind you that it's a letter dated January 20th, 2006. Almost a year after we raised the issue in this Honorable House as to what exactly the government was doing to prepare the country, to get the country in a state of readiness for Cricket World Cup 2007. Now, this letter from David Shaul was copied to the Minister, the member for St. Philip's South, who obviously became very concerned, Madam Speaker. It is very clear from this letter that the member for St. Philip's South and the entire Public Works Department was completely out of the loop. And rightfully so, Madam Speaker. The member for St. Philip's South became agitated, very concerned about the issue, and then wrote to Ambassador David Shaul on the 23rd of January 2006, questioning his authority to extend such proposals, or in other words, contract, to C.O. Williams. I imagine that the honourable member, recognizing that as an ambassador, Ambassador David Shaul obviously should be primarily involved in strengthening the diplomatic relations between Antigua, Barbuda and China, not to be integrally involved in the awarding of contracts, and to go as far as usurping the authority of the Minister and the Department of Public Works. So, Madam Speaker, I have here a letter dated the 24th of January, in which the Honourable, or His Excellency David Shaul, responded to the concerns of the Minister, Honourable Wilmot Daniel, the member for St. Philip's South, who challenged the legitimacy of David Shaul to preside over this project. And I imagine there are other concerns in the sense that Ambassador David Shaul has no expertise in this field, Madam Speaker. He doesn't have the requisite training to preside over this type of project. In fact, Madam Speaker, I'm told that Ambassador David Shaul does not even have a CXC. So he has no training in project management, but yet still, he was placed in charge of the single largest capital project ever to have taken place in the history of this country. And I have no doubt, Madam Speaker, these are some of the concerns for the member for St. Philip's South. Anyway, having raised the concerns, Ambassador David Shaul responded to the Minister on the 24th of January, 3 days later, Madam Speaker, and he indicated, or 4 days later, and he indicated in that letter addressed to Minister Daniel, I'm in receipt of your letter dated 23rd January 2006. I wish to advise that the proposal dated January 20th, 2006, to which your letter referred, was seen and sanctioned by the Prime Minister before dispatch, and a copy was sent to you for your information. The embassy's register for hand-delivered mails indicated that the copy was delivered and received on your behalf by your secretary on the above date.